But they still couldn't take my back, cause my shoes and my stick was by my side when we ride. Special about 7 and 1. They do beds, so drink again. And we would sing. It's when you run out. One belongs when you run out. When you run out. One belongs when you run out. When you run out. One belongs when you run out.
It's so lovely to have you in the studio.
Yebo.
Zuluboy.
Yes, nginibingelele nami, greeting ladies.
Yeah, siyabonga.
Ngikhona nkosazana, ngikhona man. Very beautiful.
So, thank you very much.
So, you always rapped in Zulu, right?
No, there was a time I used to call myself Crazy B.
And you were emulating American
No relation to Cardi.
rap, or were you always trying to find
No twerking, except tradition.
were you always trying to find your own voice, or did you have an idea of rap when you first started?
No, when it first started, it was Ice-T when he says cops kill kids, cop killed kids, kill cop killed kids,
Peter Piper
killed
picked a
cop.
peck of pick.
This was 1989. Cop killed kids with warning shots. What is crime and what is not? What is justice? I think I forgot. Squeeze the trigger, 1986. Ain't a damn thing changed, mother. That was 1986.
So cute. You
It was
beeped it.
rap, yeah. So what I used to do when I was growing up in the township, we used to see who knows more of lyrics and raps. We used to write them. You remember when you had a tape recorder, you press play, you'd write the lyrics, press pause,
That's
rewind.
how I learned Vanilla
press play,
Ice Baby.
Yeah, we all did that. But what's crazy is people are doing that with stuff like with diss tracks now, like especially Eminem stuff. You have to actually write it and read it and analyze it and be like,
Yes, I remember writing Stan. Throw in the woman over the bridge at the end.
Yeah,
It's your greatest fan, this is Stan.
And were you good back then when you were doing it?
I was so good. I used to do Busta Rhymes, like the hardest one.
Oh, he's amazing.
And then I found something called the greatest invention, which was called the internet at the time, Google. And I found lyrics.
Yes.
And my schoolmates didn't know. And I printed them out.
Yeah.
So I used to study Busta Rhymes lyrics, and I'd come to school, top of the head,
and just kill them.
Just kill them.
And then when did you start writing your own lyrics after that?
I started writing my own lyrics in 2001. I was dancing for a group called Tribe with Spencer, Jacob from Scheme, Reason from Otomias that they did Sadla Makrib Sadawa, you know. I was touring around with them wearing an orange overall, dancing his pants all around Johannesburg. Like, yeah, man. But I knew my passion was behind the mic. So I went to a school called Doke House, Ilof Extension, with I was Queenette. Yeah, I was studying jazz. I was playing the piano at the time in 2001. And I think that's where the creative juices of writing Zulu lyrics came through. Yeah.
And then what connected you back to that nostalgic space? Because your music, the rap gives it that modern edge, but then you love the classics. You love those songs that take us back to a place when we were little in our homes, in front of a stove, our parents baking, whatever. Like whatever reminds you of home.
I'll tell you a secret, it's Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You see, what I believe about Motown is that they showed and proved that there's nothing new under the sun. There's 7 letters of the alphabet in Ebony and Ivory. It's all black and white. But at the same time, we can reproduce what has been made and make it relevant to the new generation. But also growing up, my mom was a traditional healer, Isangom. So I used to...
Yes.
And then at
It's
night...
amazing that I even know what that is.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah. Making the spices with a big wooden thing.
There you go, too cooler. And then after that, I used to put my foot on a big drum and go kutu, 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 kutu. At 3 in the morning, my mom used to have like cans, the head of cans around her feet, and she'd go chaka 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 chaka, making rhythms when I grew up. Yeah.
Do you know how
What an
it's so
incredible
amazing just watching you
experience.
speak. You speak musically
He
as
speaks
well.
music,
the sounds
right?
that you make. But you know what I love about your music is that you use all of those old school songs, but you keep the integrity of the song while you're adding your rap flavor to it. But now it makes so much sense. It's because you've got this classical appreciation for music as well. It's beautiful.
I love music. I think music is the greatest healing force ever.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. There's this theory that everything in the universe makes a musical sound.
Yes.
I've just posted that on Facebook with the flower. You know, if you record sunflowers, they sing at a frequency and they communicate with each other.
Absolutely.
I've just posted that on my Facebook. I'm obsessed.
What kind of a star would you describe yourself as? Because you there's an aspect of you that when I look at you, I think to myself, you don't buy into the whole celebrity hype. You're kind of like, I'm here to just do the thing. Just do the damn thing and keep it moving. What kind of a star would you describe yourself in this space where we actually have to engage with the fact that we're celebrities, we're recognized, we're role models?
I think if we speak of stars, I would say North Star, because the North Star is forever shining, and it creates a legacy where people can follow, because I understand who I am within the space, and I know and I'm comfortable around my own skin. And what it is, it's my job and description within the space is basically to pave a way for those who are coming, like Ozago that came after me, like about Duncan that came after me from KwaZulu-Natal. It's basically creating something for other people to actually maximize off.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
North Star,
The North Star. I didn't expect that as an answer.
She asked me
Who's your favorite person to work with, like to collaborate with?
I did something with Prakatsi.
Yeah.
You shouldn't hear me say Prakatsi. Kaifa Semenya,
You'll probably love hearing it though.
I did something with him. I remember we went to Cannes with Thandi Iswa. She was amazing to work with. I did something with Louise Cover. Very beautiful soul.
We love Louise as well.
Such a great voice. Wow.
She's amazing. I did some stuff, No Zago. I did some stuff with Hashem Mhlope. I did some stuff with Oz 12 from Canada, Vancouver, Native American.
Oh, yeah, you played at the United Nations event in Canada. What's that like?
Amazing.
Yo, that was a bit crazy, because there was Gidi Gidi Maji Maji from Kenya, DJ Awadi from Senegal, there was gospel from Malawi. It's just Africa connected, sitting, discussing how natural are natural disasters. And all I wanted to do was to rap, you know. I don't understand now why we're discussing the knots and the volumes of hurricanes in England compared to hurricanes in Africa. I didn't understand that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I guess the way was paved before my time. Like, I actually discovered that when we did a documentary called The United States of Africa, with Awadi, we went to Common Nkrumah's house to get the real story from the family, Petrus Lumumba's house to get the real story from the family, and the horse's mouth, and we launched it in Munich, Germany, with the Black Panther movement, to M1 from Dead Prez, and that Pan-African thing that I normally do most of the time.
That's a lot of important work.
Yes, it is. It is. I think it feeds my soul, because that's what I like to do. I like to educate and teach people about who they are.
Wow. And when you speak, I've got a feeling that everybody listens.
Yes, of course. I don't know. My mom gave birth to me this way.
Yeah, it's magic. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, there's still so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about your family, about your acting when we come back.
You're going to tell us everything.
Ladies.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're back on the couch for part 2 of our conversation with Zuluboy. We spoke about your music, your influences, rap, and now I hear that you're a dedicated family man. Yeah,
I am. I'm a father of 2 beautiful daughters. Yeah. One is in Johannesburg Trinity House in grade 5. The other one is 4 years old. Yeah.
They say that men get daughters for their sins.
I'm a very sinful man.
You're a sinful man.
Yeah. In Zulu, they say ngiyagcinela.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means I close my eyes.
Wow.
When it's the moment of inception. Yeah.
Wow. And you have a beautiful relationship with your wife, because she's your ride or die. She's been there from the beginning. And when you got into the limelight, you didn't
And now the thing is,
taken away by all the new things.
Yes, the thing is this. In 6 years of marriage, one thing I've learned about entertainment and 12 years being in the space with acting and music, one thing I've learned is to separate my personal life to my family life. Like, I don't normally speak of my family because like any other family, we all have problems. Like, I've just divorced my wife. If needs be, but people have asked me why, and I told them that I came back from that club. What was it called in Johannesburg? Itapo. I came back at 9 in the morning, and I knocked on the door. She didn't want to open, so I took a bucket. I knocked on the door. She opened. And I wrote her a note, and I went to bed and I slept.
That is an insane story.
I missed half of that.
Oh,
It's
my
because
goodness.
I made it up.
Oh, what is going on? Okay, so he comes home. I'm going to translate. He comes home from a club at 9 a.m. and he knocks on the door.
Yeah.
His wife won't open for him because, right? And then he gets water and puts some leaves in and starts basically doing a little bit of divination.
Yeah.
Knocks again, she opens. And
He
then
sprays all over the house.
He sprays water all over her and all over the house. And he says, Puma Moyomu, which means Puma Satan, get out Satan,
evil spirit,
basically. Yeah. And that was the end.
And I wrote a letter that I come from a witch doctor that said I mustn't talk to anybody, and I went to bed.
And is that a true story? Did you?
I made it up. Like, I won't speak about my personal family.
Oh, my goodness. You had everybody like sitting on the edge of their...
Get out. Actually, just leave. Just leave.
There's a lot of people that are going to believe that story.
Trust me, they
It's
wouldn't.
going to be a little bleak.
They wouldn't. If they believe it, they'll be dumber than dumb.
But you probably did come back from Taboo at 9 a.m.
You're trying to get into it. Yeah, I see you, Bonnie.
So tell us about your acting.
Acting has been great, man. Like, I was in Sandton hosting an event once upon a time, because we did our first album with Native Rhythms with Sipho's Todd. Some amazing experiences. And when we were on stage, Khomoto Matsonyana, she was the creative director for Tom Pictures with Akina Matoso at the time. She was there in the audience, so she tracked down my number and asked me, would I like to act? And I said yes. So
Just like that?
She sends
just came
me
knocking on your door.
She must have heard all your fabulous stories to see that
I
you're
was on
Oscar
stage
winning.
as an MC, so I had the poetic license and a microphone. Give me a mic. Give me a chance to speak. That's what I'm saying. So I was speaking myself and I was doing my thing. And then I went to bomb shelter and they gave me a script for Zakes, and my first acting role was Soul City playing lead with Umbalim Lojwa and Muloi, and I did Soul City 9, Soul City 10. I've done a lot of great stuff, exciting stuff, and I love acting because I truly believe God puts me in a space where I need to be at the time, using every talent that I have as a thespian sometimes, because I was at the Artscape doing it all to the musical. I was doing ballet, like it was so amazing. With Swai. I was doing ballet, I was doing yoga, I was doing all this crazy stuff that Zulu people didn't think they'd do.
What was it like working with Swai? I went to art school. I've seen lots of Zulu guys doing ballet, and they're phenomenal dancers.
Of course, they chose me. I thought I'm going to rap. I'll go back to my point. All I wanted to do was just rap. So I didn't think that one day I'll be rocking a tight, doing some up, left, and pokey toes.
You have very good legs, though.
Let's talk about you being on the most watched soap in the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uzalo.
Yes. What is that like?
Don't you play at Tsotsi?
Man, I worked with one of the greatest actors South Africa has ever delivered, Ernest Msibi. He played Chester in the first Izo Izo. Yeah, I was playing his ghetto brother, you know, he was on a wheelchair. So we created chemistry there. It was amazing working with that team, with actors, with stained glass in the whole company. It's very interesting on how they do business.
And you must have enjoyed being back in KwaZulu-Natal, because don't they film
I'm
that?
back home.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the part where they were beating us up. Guys, couldn't you show another part?
Nah, we like this part.
You like the
We
part
like this part.
where you're being whooped? No,
Yeah,
guys.
we want this part.
Come on, guys. Like, there's so much other scenes.
This is the part we like.
I want to see what she's going to do to you. Oh, shame. Female empowerment, bro.
Oh, man, guys, no. There's... Oh, man.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Washa. Yeah,
That's
and
lovely.
on
That's
the
amazing.
wheelchair, yeah, man.
But isn't it such an intense schedule working on Uzalo? Like, how do you manage to film in KwaZulu-Natal, then go back to Joburg and do gigs? I mean,
Yeah.
sheesh, you must live on an airplane.
No. I'm moved permanently back to KwaZulu-Natal and started at the first artist union called TVD, Andy Delangboy.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I've gotten a job to sustain myself with Uzalo, and I've gotten a job as a radio personality on a radio show, a radio station called Vuma FM, Vuma 103.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So every Saturday is from 2 to 6, and every Sunday is from 2 to 6. Always, yeah.
Another story of interest for me, which I think is really important, is your involvement with the New Day Clinic that helps. It's an outpatient rehab center.
Dr. Khumalo. Undu Khumalo.
Yeah.
She's a friend of mine. She's got a PhD in medicine alongside Usfiso Makanya. Yeah. We came together, we were chilling in Hillcrest in one of the houses there, and we started challenging each other as people. What can we do with our talents and what we have on top of the table? And we started challenging each other to see how we can rehabilitate people in 5 days. Yeah, so New Day Clinic is basically a rehabilitation program and detox center that you can go to, sit on a couch, get a drip, get a psychologist sitting on your side and whispering good stuff in your ear.
That's
We're going to find
amazing.
out a little bit more about this clinic because it sounds fascinating. And I want to find out if it's actually possible to rehabilitate somebody in 5 minutes. We'll be right
5 days.
back
5 days.
with Zuluboy in a little bit. Welcome back to Afternoon Express this fabulous Friday afternoon. And we are back on the couch for part 3 with our conversation with Zuluboy. So before the break, we touched on the fact that you've now opened this clinic. So you've got a few partners and you've started this clinic. It's in the township.
Yes, Mlas Gavi.
And 5 days to get completely rehabilitated.
Yeah.
What is the process?
The process is to kill the cravings.
Yeah.
So we engage the family on how to receive you at home, because it's not a rehab where you live in the rehab. I'm an ambassador for it. It's like a medical center with couches, and they have drips close to the couches. So you'd come in the morning at 10, you'd sit on your couch, go into your crib, drip, and then have your psychologist sitting next to you. In 5 days, and then you go home, you come back the next day, you get more treatment.
And
So
does
it's
it
in
work
5
as an
days.
outpatient thing? What happens if you need more than 5 days?
Yeah.
But
Because not all addicts were created equally.
Undu Khumalo, the one who has the PhD in medicine, designed it a certain way.
Wow,
Yeah.
right. And what are some of the success stories that you can share with
Success
us?
stories is we met up with the Kansala Lagavi. We met up with some leadership yakona, like abafundis, the pastors there. We asked them to engage something called Bambisandla Foundation that pays for these patients if they can't afford it. Because most of all, a lot of black people in the township are not on medical aid.
Yeah.
And people who go to rehab centers are on medical aid. So what do you create? How do you bridge the gap with the friends that you sit with and drink expensive whiskey in all these restaurants? You know what I mean? So Bambisandla Foundation bridged the gap. We had the Kansalala Corner and some pastors identifying potential people who deserve a break. So we found children whose fathers are teachers, children whose fathers are ministers, children whose fathers were politicians. So they started coming in, and there's been great success stories.
That's amazing. Now, we used to go to the same church. We were
Yes.
chatting a little bit during the break about that.
Yeah.
Tell us about your faith journey and just your belief system.
It's up, down, up, down, up, down. I think in life, if there was a perfect manual, we'll all be perfect human beings.
Right.
So we were forever seeking and trying to understand.
Nobody's got a perfect faith story either. I think it must be up and down because that's how you learn.
Yeah, and I think for me as a strong black Zulu man, I think my faith is back and directed in my ancestral worship and my people that I pray to, Mvelinqang and my ancestors, you know. I love the Shembe Church, you know. I believe that their ways of doing things are similar to Islamic. They're similar to ways of Kemet and ancient Egyptian and spirituality.
Wow. Sure.
What do you think has been the biggest influence in your life? That's been the most positive influence and the most positive guide, I suppose, in your life.
Man, it's a lot of people, because my heart is just pure. I give people a chance and they tend to mess it up because they tend to judge a book by its cover, not understanding the intelligence that come with it, you know. And I believe my guide is basically, when you are on your own, you are a reflection on how you answer questions and how you are social. So if you decide to be on your own and be on your Google and you're wasting your time on porn or doing whatever instead of reading a good book, then you reflect on that and you reflect that way. Yeah.
But you are so mindful. But I think to reach a point of being so mindful, you've got to go through a lot to get there.
Yeah.
So what do you do in your private time that is making you so conscious of doing the work, the me time work?
I like philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Greene, David Icke. I'm talking.
David Icke's not a philosopher, he's a conspiracy theorist. I love David Icke.
But when he's sitting together with Credo Mutu and you're watching 25 hours.
Have you met Credo Mutu?
I would so love to meet him.
I would also love to.
Yeah, but I've heard. Uzola 7 is also a philosopher. Like, I sit with him daily. Yeah. I love philosophy. I love how people believe that we all see the world through the same eyes, but we don't.
Yeah.
We all see the world through our own eyes.
Yeah.
And
I saw this thing the other day saying there's so many flat earthers around the globe.
Yeah, man. So I love reading a lot of books, and I love asking questions so I get the right answer and sitting in the right circles. But most of all, I like being honest to myself and getting the party started before I can invite any other person into it, because otherwise I'd rather be an introvert.
Yeah. As a man raising daughters, I'm sure you've given a lot of thought as to what you want to imprint in your daughters' minds, right? What is it?
Freedom, first of all. Freedom, because with self-realization comes liberation, and liberation brings freedom in those 3 steps. Getting them to understand that. And then after that, it's teaching them the ethnic traditional ways of who we are as a human being. Like, for example, there's a lot of black people who will slaughter a cow and they don't know which portion of a cow goes to who, because we're no longer there in our philosophy. And we
Well, how does that, which portion goes to who?
But
which portion does go to who?
I'm saying it's full, but like the chest, it goes to women. That's women's meat. You can't offer it to men.
Oh, really? Why not?
It's an insult. It's an insult to men if you
describe
offer them
the chest meat. Is it soft? Is it tender? Is it flavorful?
It's full of
why
ribs.
can't you give it a man?
It's full of ribs, so there's no meat.
There's no meat.
There's no meat.
You can't give it to a man.
Ladies, sorry.
I knew I didn't like this.
Give the man.
I knew I didn't like where this was going. I didn't like where this was going.
I was like,
Zuluboy through and through.
Just bones. So you give the women the bones, okay, and then?
And yeah, man, I just want to teach
And
my
then
kids.
you guys get the rump.
We get the whole shebang.
Where all the flavor is. I just saw a squiz of our sound guy at the back going,
Listen, Bonnie. This is how it happens. A lot of Zulu men and migrant workers who live in hostels, right? They send 1,000 rand home every month, right? They only come home once a year. But their wives kneel on their knees and they serve them meat on a tray called uqobo, Zulu. And they sit there, dancing, and a man sits on a chair. Not because the man tells the woman to do so, because she was raised that way. You know what I'm saying? We are independent, we are free, yet our women still treat us as equals.
And your daughters, can you see your daughters serving their men food on a platter?
I see my daughter serving royalty, yeah.
Did they see themselves doing that?
They're too young.
Yeah, what's
they're too young to see themselves. They are too young, but they're going to go to Mhlangeni. There's no border that's going to be paid for my daughter.
I'm not going to marry a man who is
you are daring the universe. I love your daughters become the greatest MCs.
Yeah.
As rappers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Yeah.
Little
keep talking like that. Keep talking.
Cardi B.
Yeah.
Cardi.
Hey, Daddy.
Oh my God.
Talking like that.
That's why God gave you daughters.
Yeah, but anyway, whatever that they become, it's totally up to them. Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening? What's your plan for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year, I'm releasing this single that it's exclusive here. as a debut exhibition of it. It's with Uringo Madlingos, and the rest of the year I'm going to be on Ivuma FM as a radio personality and a DJ. Opening a clothing brand. Yeah, they've got this Zuluboy t-shirts and caps because that's merchandising and that's where we make our money as rappers anymore.
Yeah.
Downloads don't pay. And TVD is the greatest baby of mine, and alongside Utulan Dlamini as the president of it, where we're creating an artist union and trying to get money for artists.
So the song that you're going to be performing later is actually your latest, and it's the first time on TV that you're performing it. We love a little exclusive here on Afternoon Express. Thank you.
Ladies, be careful now.
Thank you so much for being here. You are a joy to interview. We love you. Mwah.